I am welcoming you all of them to my channel. Today I am going to talk about importance of ion exchange resin in analytical chemistry. Ion exchange resin. First of all, let me understand the process of ion exchange. Ion exchange is a process in which one of the ion which is present in an insoluble solid, that is exchanged with another ion in solution. I like to explain this one by simple diagram. Usually resin is a kind of cross-linked polymer that I am going to just demonstrate in the form of a diagram. It has the functional group of sulfonate or maybe ammonium salt which was holding, the resin was holding an ion. For example, if it is holding an ion, that is proton. Okay, this resin is normally insoluble solid which is porous, and then that one having proton is exchanged with you have a solution. That solution having an ion, metal ion. So what will happen? Ion exchange process. One of the proton in inorganic, one of the proton in porous insoluble solid is exchanged with the metal ion from solution. That is, proton was replaced by metal ion. Proton was replaced by metal ion from solution. So the process will be called as ion exchange. Usually we have two kind of resin. If you classify the resin very broadly, that can be classified into two kinds. One is cation exchange resin, another one is anion exchange resin. Cation exchange resin. Another one is anion exchange resin. Cation exchange resin as well as anion resin. The purpose of cation exchange resin is the cation from the insoluble, for example, proton from the insoluble is replaced by metal ion in solution. But in case of anion exchange resin, anion which is present in the insoluble solid, that is exchanged by any of the anion which is present in the solution. So I already said that once resin is a kind of cross-linked polymer. Resin is a kind of cross-linked polymer. We can take an example of maybe polystyrene. So polystyrene, we all of them knows how does it looks like. It has CH2. It is extending in both direction, like in one dimensional as well as in another side also. Okay, so it is extending in both directions. It has an array unit which has the functional group of, for example, sulfonate ion or maybe carboxylate ion or maybe ammonium ion. So that maybe which is present in the phenyl group, that functional group is the responsibility for act as either cation or anion exchange resin. For simplify, I am just drawing in the form of the polymer will be drawn in the form of a cross-linked, will be in the form of just a small cartoon diagram. process will be very, very strong compared with the carboxylate, because sulfonate we know it is a highly strong acidic than carboxylate. Again, you have such kind of polystated backbone which has the functional unit now quaternary ammonium ion, or maybe simple methyl group which has the counter ion hydroxide group. Okay. Now, what will happen? The proton which is present in the insoluble was exchanged with the cation from the solution. Now, I am going to show this process by simple equations. For example, you have resin R is polystyrene backbone which is the functional group of sulfuric acid. It is an insoluble solid. Now this was reacting with the metal ion from solution. Maybe I can put X. X may be charge of the ion. What will happen? This will be X. M X plus X proton. Okay. Similarly, it is just simplified balanced equation. I can write for anion exchange resin also. In case of anion exchange resin, you have counter ion hydroxide group. Okay, this one is the anion exchange resin. It is now reacting with any of the halides or any of the anions which is in the solution, which reacts to form X minus. Instead of X minus, I can put again here X N minus. N minus. N minus is the charge. There is the charge of the anion. It will be in solution. In case this one will be in a solid state resin solution. Okay. So what happened? Hydroxide ion was simple. Hydroxide ion was simply replaced and exchanged by anion. So now anion was gone into the resin. The hydroxide ion, equal number of hydroxide ion came out to the solution. Okay. Now let me go to more specifically. For example, ion exchange equilibria. Let me know how much like that of resin, because each and every metal ion has own interaction with resin. So that can be explained in the form of equations. So let me now go to more specific reactions, and then what happened? We can derive the expression. How does the resin has the ability to react with metal ions, like that with respect to distribution coefficient. Ion exchange equilibria. Ion exchange equilibria. To understand the strength of metal ion with resin. like that of how much interaction, because each and every metal ion have own interaction with the resin that can be explained, that can be represented in the form of simple equations. For example, you have more specifically, you can take any of the metal ions you can take, that can, metal ion will be in aqueous phase that reacts with the resin. Resin will be designated by the form of simple proton. Okay, I can give the form of RSO3 minus proton. Then will be in the resin, which is in equilibrium to form SO3 minus N plus N proton. Okay. Now let me give an equilibrium constant for this process. K prime is a kind of distribution coefficient for this process. K prime is equal to concentration of proton. To be more specific, I can choose metal ions very perfectly. Then what happened? The equations we can go both perfectly. For example, let us take an example of calcium ion. Calcium ion plus sulfonate will be in equilibrium to form RSO3 minus 2 calcium 2 plus 2 proton. Okay. So K prime is the distribution coefficient, which is equal to calcium ion in resin, proton in aqueous divided by proton in resin divided by calcium ion in aqueous. Okay. So now let me see. In this case, usually ion exchange process will occur under the condition of usually one of the ions will be in more excess compared with the other. Ion exchange separations are usually performed under conditions in which one ion predominates than other. Please note this point, it's very important one. Ion exchange separations are usually performed under the condition in which one ion predominates than other. For example, in this case, usually what happened? This resin having so much of protons, usually resin will be in higher quantity. Okay, we are going to use a very dilute solution. Resin, actually what happened? Resin we are going to use very higher quantity, so it has the proton concentration will be higher. Similarly, when you come to solution case also, normally we will use a solution having very dilute condition or maybe acidic solution. So the proton concentration in both resin as well as solution will be very higher in compared with the calcium concentration in both resin as well as aqueous phase. So I can simply write in the form of concentration of calcium ion in resin is very the concentration of calcium ion in solution state is again very less compared with the concentration of proton in aqueous. Because I already said to you, one of the ion will be, because here the condition will be the case of one of the ion will be predominates higher than other. So in both cases calcium ion concentration is very small in compared with the acid concentration of both resin as well as aqueous phase. So under that case what happened? This equation can be simplified into K prime. K prime concentration of proton in resin divided by concentration of proton in case of aqueous, which is equal to a new constant, because concentration of proton here is very higher compared with calcium and concentration. So what happened? This will be a constant value. There will be no that much big changes will be happened in exchange process after exchange process happened. So what happened? This will be called as a new constant, that is called distribution coefficient again K, which is equal to concentration of calcium ion resin divided by concentration. I mean concentration means usually what happen, it will be in the form of more strictly we have to use the term activities. Calcium ion in aqueous. Okay, so now the distribution coefficient is highly depend upon, because highly depend upon the concentration of calcium ion 2 plus in resin as well as aqueous. That means this K value can decide, this K value can tell now how much the interaction between the resin as well as the metal ion. So if K value is very high, let us assume if the K value is very high means the metal ion has very high interaction with the resin. That means strongly interacted, strong interaction between the resin and metal ion. If the K value is small means it is weakly binded, like the interaction between metal ion and resin is not so strong. In general, K for an ion is large. K for an ion is large. Then there is a strong tendency. There is a strong tendency for retention of ions by the resin. So now the distribution coefficient value will tell how much the interaction between the metal ion as well as with the resin. In case if the K value for an ion is small means then there is a weak tendency for retention of ions by the resin. That means it is not that much is strongly bonded, the metal ion with the resin. Okay. This K value is highly depend upon the charge of the metal ion as well as size of the metal ions. Charge of the two important factors can decide the value of K. One is charge of the metal ion. Another one is size of the hydration ion. Size of the hydration ion. So on that basis, let us assume if you have a series of metal ion which almost have the same size of hydration ion, then what happen? If which one is more charged that have strong affinity with the resin. For example, you have aluminium ion, calcium ion and sodium ion. These three ions have almost similar similar size of hydration ion. So which one is now charged? Charge one is higher for aluminium ion. So what happened? This will have higher K value compared with the calcium 2 plus. That means aluminium 3 plus will be strongly bonded with the resin than calcium ion. Again, calcium ion can strongly bond with the resin than sodium ion. So now let me come to the size of the hydration ion. Let us take an example of univalent ions. I mean, all of them have same charge. Charge will be constant now. For example, alkali metal ions. If you take an example of alkali metal ions, lithium ion, sodium ion, potassium, rubidium, cesium, all of them have same charge. But the size of the hydration is different in each cases. So, cesium has higher affinity towards the resin than rubidium. Again, rubidium has higher affinity with resin than potassium. Potassium, again what happened? Have a higher affinity with resin than sodium. The least one is lithium ion. Okay. Now, I would like to talk here about the application of ion exchange resin. This is one of the again very important thing. Ion exchange resin we are using for the various purposes. Some of them are very interesting that I would like to discuss in this lecture. First one is separation of interfering ions. Interfering ions of opposite charge. So separation of interfering ions of opposite charge. Let us take an example of gravimetric estimation of sulfate ion. Gravimetric estimation of, you have to estimate how much amount of sulfate ion present in solution. Usually sulfate ion is associated with an impurity of ferric ion as well as aluminium ion. Okay, so when you are going for gravimetric estimation, sulfate ion will be changed to barium sulfate. So at that time there is more possibility of ferric ion and aluminium ion will be co-precipitate as ferric sulfate and aluminium sulfate in the form with the barium sulfate. So to remove this opposite charge ion from sulfate, what happened? We can simply pass this mixture, sulfate ion having before starting gravimetry, the sulfate ion associated with the impurity ferric ion and aluminium can be removed, can be separated by passing this solution through cation exchange resin. Solution have an ions of major ion will be sulfate ion, trace amount of ferric ion and aluminium ion. This was now passed through cation ion exchanger. So what happened? Cation ion exchanger means it has SO3 minus proton. So what happened? This proton was now replaced with the ferric ion and aluminium ion. So you will get now solution again which has sulfate ion and proton, equal number of how many number of ferric ion and aluminium ion is there, that thrice the amount of proton can be obtained. So now what happened? Proton will be not interfering ion. So now you can get the precise result in the gravimetric estimation of sulfate ion with the barium ion. This is the one of the important application. The next one is concentration of traces of an electrolyte. Concentration of an electrolyte. Concentration of traces of an electrolyte. How we can explain this one? Okay, you have a drinking water. The drinking water having trace amount of toxic ions such as arsenic and mercuric ion. Okay, now the trace ions can't be analyzed by spectroscopically because that is very small amount of concentration will be very negligible amount. So how can we know which ion present in the solution? We have to do analytical thing. We have to do, if in case we have to do analysis, means we should have at least some threshold concentration is needed for analysis. So what can we do? The drinking water which is in the large volume of drinking water contains toxic ions such as arsenic ion as well as mercuric ion. Any one which is present in the drinking water, which is in the large volume having trace amount of arsenic and mercuric. Now we have to analyze which ion present in the solution. So this one, now what happened? We passed to the cation exchanger. Once we pass, I mean RSO3 minus proton. So now what happened? We will get drinking water which contains only drinking water contains now only what happened? Only water will be the large volume of drinking water we can get it, which contains free of aluminium and mercuric. Only proton will be there, acid will be there because these two ions will be replaced by proton. Now the resin having arsenic or mercuric ion. Okay, so if this resin was washed with small volume of acid, then what happened? You can get a washed filtrate. The filtrate having now arsenic and mercury, but the volume is very small volume. Now what happened? We can analyze. Now what happened? The small, I mean, for example, here the drinking water, maybe you can take like an example of 100 liters. If you wash with maybe 10 ml of acid, what happened? You will here you have 100 liters of drinking water which has now 10 ml of water having ions. So now this ion is ready for analyzing. How much, I mean, both for quantitative as well as qualitatively, we can determine the concentration of toxic ion present in drinking water. Then the next one is conversion of salt to acid and base. Conversion of salt to acid and base. Third one is conversion of salt to acid or base. So usually preparing standard acid or base is not simple. It's not very simple. Preparation of standard acid or base is not so simple. But by making use of ion exchange resin, what happened? We can simplify it. You can make, for example, sodium chloride solution. You have 1 molar sodium chloride solution. that you are going to pass through cation exchanger. Instead of 1 molar, you just use 1 mole. 1 mole of sodium chloride solution. Now you are going to use the cation exchanger in the form of RSO3H. Okay. So once what happened? Once you pass the solution to exchanger, equal number of how many ion is there, that much ion will be replaced, that much proton was replaced by sodium. So you will get the equal number of hydrochloric acid. Equal number of HCl. For example, 1 mole of HCl can be get, and SO3 minus sodium ion. So if you dilute this one with the known volume, then what happened? You can get the standard solution of acid. If you dilute this one, dilute with the known volume, you can get the standard solution of acid. Similarly, in case if you want to get the standard solution of base, means you need to use here anion exchange resin. Anion exchanger, if you use it, for example, if you use R3 plus OH minus. Okay, if you use this exchanger, what happened? You will get back the potassium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide. If you dilute with the 1 mole of sodium chloride will give 1 mole of sodium hydroxide. If you dilute with the known volume of water, then you can get the standard solution, which volume you want. Depending upon the volume, you can get the desired concentration of standard solution of base. Okay. So finally, at last, I would like to thank you very much for all of them participated in this lecture.